So welcome everybody, especially the attendees, but of course they're all the registrars too. And remember that under the handouts tab, you will find the presentation in PDF format. And that document will be sent to the registrars too, together with the link for the recording. So this will be, this is a different webinar. And I hope, as I said, that I hope that I have found the right approach to talk about this. So welcome. Today's webinar is focused on clarifying what you are dealing with when you begin your dissertation writing process. The main intention is to give you a basic but clear idea of what you are expected to do and what you need to rely on in order to finish on time, on task, and with rigor. This week, our journey will take you to a future that may be full of uncertainty, but also of fulfilled wishes. So, let's go where any graduate student wants to be. Graduation. Welcome. This quote clearly illustrates your ultimate goal. Although it may not be a conscious one at this moment, it will be present every day of your life once you begin developing your thesis or dissertation. And today, we will talk about how to achieve it. Adrian says, I have the ebook on slide 2. Love that it says, don't let the dissertation finish you. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Okay, this is the agenda of the webinar. First, we will talk about where you want to go and why you want to go to get there. Second, common challenges from both academic and personal points of view will be presented so you can evaluate yourself in terms of how much you have developed and what is needed to overcome those challenges. Fourth, we will talk about how you can plan your actions in uncertain contexts, like the current and future ones. Finally, I will try, based on my experience and knowledge, to answer your questions in relation to the theme of the webinar. When you begin any important journey, the reasonable step to follow is to make clear where you are and where you want to go. Started and finish points are necessary to prepare yourself for the action. Simple, yes? Yes. But however, many people forget to think about that step and begin moving without such a reflection. First thing is to ask what actually the goal is. Is it to get a degree? Is it to be more knowledgeable? Is it to earn more money? Is it a matter of prestige? Is it to be prepared to help others? Is it to achieve what no relative has got so far? Or perhaps, is it all of them? Establishing the goal lets you define the finish point, and reflecting upon where you are now lets you foresee the length and difficulty of the journey. Hossein cannot hear. I think that try getting out and come back. All right, so let's continue with that. It's quite possible that your reflection makes you think that the finish point is very, very far from your current starting point, and that the journey will not be as easy as you may wish. Therefore, the question if the journey is worth the effort may arise. To answer it, you have to establish your personal and professional reasons to achieve the identified goal. And very frequently, there are other reasons to be considered. So, this is an important step to follow. The clearer the goal and the reasons to achieve it are, the better you will use them as motivators when you face the downs of the journey. Okay? But what is involved in the dissertation journey? What do you have to deal with? Knowing that will help you contextualize the course of action and determine what you need to be successful. We can analyze the point within two contexts, the academic and the personal one. Let's see into the academic context. Here you have the major stages of the journey. These are the points that connect the start to the end. Of course, there are many in-between points, but these are the most significant ones. As you can see, points 3 and 4 could be chosen actions for some of you, though most of you will not have that opportunity. Whatever the specific case is, the stages presented in the slide have to be fulfilled during the journey. They may seem far from the present, but they will be in your future, and you need to be prepared for them. Sorry, something is happening with my... Okay, let me see. Something happened with my... wait a minute. Something happened with my trackpad. No, it's not working. Okay. Now I found a mouse. I don't know what happened to my trackpad. Don't worry. Here we are. Okay. This slide presents one way of thinking about the stages or phases of the research process that you should develop during the dissertation journey. The wheel metaphor. I'm very close in using mouses, but here I am. Okay. This wheel metaphor suggests that research is not linear, but a recursive cycle of steps that are repeated over time. Generally speaking, the entry step is some form of observation that makes you choose a topic to develop your dissertation. Or you can begin by formulating questions about a phenomenon that intrigues you. Based on that, by an inductive process, you create a proposition which exists within a conceptual or theoretical framework and that has a specific relationship within that framework. Moving forward along the research wheel, you use deductive reasoning to generate specific research questions or objective and sometimes hypotheses. The loop is completed when you seek to discover or collect data whose analysis will help you answer the questions, achieve the objective, and or test the hypothesis. Generalizations are made on the basis of the particular data that had been analyzed, and they are tied to a conceptual or theoretical framework, which then leads to further research questions, etc. That's how the research wheel functions, and you must be aware of such a process to be able to implement it. Now, this slide presents the most common dissertation structure. I have included a subtitle for each chapter that illustrates the essence of the chapter. For example, chapter 1 is the lighthouse of the dissertation because it points out the main elements of the research process and is where you have to look whenever you need to make a decision to be sure that it will be consistent and valid. Chapter 2 presents the foundations of the process because it discusses the conceptual and theoretical framework upon which you build the whole dissertation. Chapter 3 shows how you conduct the research process and is the place to go if somebody wants to evaluate or replicate your study. That's what it says, follow me. Chapter 4 is where you show your results, and that's why it says, look what I got, okay? And chapter 5 is the part of the dissertation where you discuss your findings in connection to the framework built on chapter 2. It's the place where you intend to convince readers that you did a great job, and that's why you are selling and showing off. Of course, there are some, I have written some questions that may help you get the idea of each of those chapters. Last year, we really conducted webinar for each one of these chapters, so you can find them at doctoralnet. Finally, but not finally of the webinar, okay? Easy. Finally, you have to master these areas so as to be able to write a high quality dissertation. All of them can be mastered if you are committed to the task and practice, as I've said in previous webinar. So to do your dissertation, you have to master academic writing, critical reading, critical analysis, critical writing, argumentation, and research design and implementation. But all of them can be easily understood, and then with commitment and practice, you will master them. Now let's go into the personal context. You know, our complexity as human beings makes that we pay attention to physical and emotional aspects that influence our behaviors and therefore will be important to achieve our goals in the dissertation journey. Remember that we want to finish the dissertation on time, on task, and with rigor, but we have to survive the process and enjoy what we have achieved. That's why you need to know about the personal issues you need to deal with. One of my neighbors. Okay. This slide shows some of the areas you need to take into account. Let me talk a little about each one of them. Health. Patrick, I think that you go and make a search using the corresponding title. So chapter 1, chapter 2, and so on. Okay, health. Being healthy is absolutely essential to finish the dissertation journey, and healthy means physically and mentally stable and operative. Okay? Social support. It mediates or moderates the relationship between stress and health. It helps you keep your mind focused on the task and at the same time preserve your health. Organization. Approaching a complex task like developing a dissertation without a plan to organize not only ideas but also tasks is unproductive. You must be organized so as to save time, effort, and disappointment. Procrastination. It is delaying things against our better judgment. It's not laziness. It's not a matter of being lazy. When we procrastinate, we're not only aware that we are avoiding the task in question, but also that doing so is probably a bad idea. And yet, we do it anyway. Why? Psychologists say that we do it because of an inability to manage negative moods around the task. That it is in fact an emotion regulation problem and not a time management problem. This is a very interesting way of looking at it, because when we talk about procrastination, we always think, oh, you are being lazy. No, it's not a matter of being lazy. It's a matter of handling our emotion. And we are going to talk about how you can address these personal areas of concern. Now, working smart. You may want to work smart, but you need to know what it means when developing a dissertation. And that means to ensure that the time you schedule for the dissertation work is really productive. We are going to talk about tricks and tips so you can do that really, that whenever you sit down to work in your dissertation, that work can be productive. And keeping balance. Too many things to do, and you may tend to do all of them nearly at the same time. That decision, which is usually unconscious, leads you to stress, despair, procrastination, etc. These are some of the personal areas of concern, and in the next section of the webinar, I will give you some tips to overcome the academic and personal barriers I have pointed out. But like in nearly all aspects of life, balance is the key to perform effectively and survive the attempt. How you can do that is the focus of the next section. Before talking about what you can do to keep the balance, let's talk about a necessary input of the whole journey: an evaluation of your current mastery of what you will need to achieve your goals. Oh, it's not intended to make you quit, not at all. It is intended to help you characterize your initial state so as to know strengths and weaknesses that's necessary to rely on the former and improve the latter. Latrice says, did we lose here? I don't know. Is everybody listening and watching and things? Let me know. Okay. Is everybody listening to me? Okay. Okay. Good. These are some of the essentials to do a successful dissertation journey. Pay attention. Think of them as tools you have to put into your toolbox, or perhaps lunchbox, if you prefer that term, because they are the food you will need. Let's see briefly each one of them. Commitment. If you really want to achieve your goals, you make a promise to yourself to continue their pursuit even when the downs of the process surpass the ups. You commit yourself to achieve the goals and act accordingly. Such commitment develops resilience, and that helps you keep the necessary balance between effort and satisfaction. Establishing the importance of the goals, at least for you, will help you commit yourself to their achievement. So it is necessary not only that you establish some goals, but that you identify how important they are for you. Because when you do that, then you can remember that whenever you are a little depressed, when you are facing the downs parts of the journey, when the advisor says you have to rewrite this again, that kind of thing, okay? Now, stamina. You need to spend a lot of energy in the dissertation journey, but also to keep the balance to assure health. Therefore, you must combine energy consumption with relaxation. Exercise, wise nutrition, and meditation, especially mindfulness, are essential tools to get that balance. Resilience. Life does not come with a map that helps us be prepared to every twist and turn that we experience. However, each change affects people differently, bringing a unique flow of thoughts, strong emotions, and uncertainty, and most people adapt well over time to life-changing situation and a stressful situation, in part thanks to resilience. Psychologists define it as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress, like the dissertation journey. As much as resilience involves bouncing back from this difficult experience, it can also involve profound personal growth. Why? Because there are many aspects of your life you can control, modify, and grow with. How? Focusing on 4 core components: connection, wellness, healthy thinking, and meaning. All those components can empower you to withstand and learn from difficult and traumatic experience. Remember, connection, connection between the situation and between you and other people, and between you and your goals. Wellness, you have to be healthy. You have to eat wisely. You have to be in good condition. Healthy thinking, which means that you always look at the glass that is nearly full instead of just nearly empty, okay? Or half full instead of half empty. You have to develop a healthy thinking and meaning, because you have to think about how important things are for you, that goal is for you, how important to achieve the goals related to dissertation, how important are they for you. Okay, proactive behavior. To be proactive is to change things in an intended direction for the better. Proaction involves creating change, not merely anticipating it. It does not just involve the important attributes of flexibility and adaptability toward an uncertain future. No, to be proactive is to take the initiative in improving what you care about. So it's not just to sit down and wait for changes to happen. It's to make them happen. Basically, you become more proactive when you scan for change opportunity. You set effective oriented goals, anticipate and prevent problems, do different things or things differently, take action, persevere, and finally achieve results. Adrian says the doctoral journey is one that turns us into alchemists. Absolutely. You have to change, you have to transform lots of ideas, lots of text into gold. Gold for you and gold for your field of study. That's a good metaphor. Okay, reflection. Oh, sorry, courage. Mark Twain said that courage is the mastery of fear, not the absence of fear. Know that. It's not a matter of I don't have fear. It's a matter of I have fear, I feel fear, but I'm here to conquer it. That's courage. And that's the essence of having courage during the dissertation journey. You will identify many things that would cause you experience fears and consequently anxiety. For example, will this impact my family negatively? Will I be able to face the task intellectually? Can I accept criticism, etc.? Those are expected questions to emerge. You don't have to avoid them if they worry you. You need to flow with them. What does it mean? You face them openly and honestly, trying to understand them, giving space within you, or giving them a space within you, but not letting them take you out of your road. You practice mindfulness for accepting their existence and can also share them with others, especially peers that have finished their dissertation journey or are doing it. Reflection. Graduate students need to be reflective because they are expected to evaluate their ideas and action as well as other people's. Action without reflection leads you to failure. Readiness to explore your own limits. If you know what you want, why you want it, are willing to sacrifice and endure many obstacles to get it, then you are a person who explores their own limits and may approach the dissertation journey as an adventure full of excitement and possibilities to succeed. That could make the process less difficult. Sorry about the noise. My neighbors are very unexpected people, so I have to flow with their actions. And that's why I practice a lot of mindfulness to be able to do that. Okay, organization. It is so important that working without organization is a winning ticket to disappointment. If you don't work in an organized way, be ready to fail. The good news is that there are many ways of organizing your work and information, and you just need to find the one that fits you. Enjoyment of the journey. To finish the dissertation journey, you have to enjoy what you are doing. Of course, there will be ups and downs, but the key point is to feel that whatever you do contributes to achieve your goals. That produces satisfaction and improves your self-esteem. Now let's go to the tips. Let's see some tips to address academic issues. Okay? For example, give yourself a private and relaxing environment. Get rid of noisy neighbors. Divide the task into manageable pieces and do it one step at a time. So don't try to do the whole chapter 2 at the same time, or complete it from the first page to the last page just at the beginning of the process. No, today I'm going to do this part, and then I am going to do this part, one step at a time. Create a dissertation addiction. This is a good addiction. How you can do that? By devoting to it at least 10 minutes daily. When you decide to do that, at least 10 minutes, of course, you can devote more time, but at least 10 minutes daily, you will feel on the task, on the right track. Okay? Use free writing to put your ideas on paper. Yes, when the idea comes to your mind, write it down. Don't pay attention if it is well written, if it has all the things. No, just write it down. Don't obsess with doing it right from the beginning. That's called free writing. Set a dissertation goal for each day or week, whatever you prefer, whatever fits you. Share your ideas with others and participate in peer support groups. That kind of groups that we have here at Doctoral Net will help you a lot to advance in your writing. Create annotated bibliographies so as to organize the information you need to do critical analysis of the sources. When I say annotated bibliography, I'm talking about a kind of entry in your software, the software that you use to register what you are reading, is a kind of entry that, of course, have the author and publication information, but it also have main ideas, points that get your attention, things that with which you agree, things with you don't agree, why you agree, why you don't agree, where are you going to use that information, in what part of your dissertation. When you build your bibliography in that way, so it is easier to write, because you say, okay, I'm going to write right now, I'm going to write the methodology. And then you go to your software and say, give me all the parts, all the entries that I categorized as suitable for the methodology chapter. And you have all of them. Okay, think of that. I have conducted a webinar about this, but if you are interested, I can do it again. I mean, in a better way. I always want to do it better. I always look for connection of ideas. You know, a dissertation is a piece of writing in which everything is connected from page 1 to the last page. Everything is connected. When you talk about your research question in chapter 1, in chapter 2, you discuss all the variables and elements involved in that research question. In chapter 3, you check if the methodology is really connected to the research question and to the theoretical conceptual framework that you have identified or you have chosen. And then in chapter 4, you use the research question to discuss your results. And in chapter 5, you connect your conclusions to what you have said in chapter 2 and in chapter 4. So it's a matter of connections of ideas. And when you are reading sources, you have to ask yourself how these ideas connect to my own ideas, to my own work. Janine says, yes, I would love guidance and with creating annotated bibliographies to organize these piles of articles to assist with critical writing. Okay, I'm going to prepare one of these, but it has been after May because I have all the webinars prepared for till May. And the last tip is work during times that you are most productive. Are you an early bird like me? An early bird is really likes to write at 3, 4, or 5 in the morning. Or are you a late bird that prefer to work at night? So choose to work in your dissertation when you know that you are more productive. Okay? And let's see how to add some tips to address personal issues. You can adapt them to your own way of doing the things, but I really encourage you to try them. Give yourself time to be you and enjoy life. You are not a robot that is writing a dissertation. You are a person. And despite the fact that you are writing a dissertation, you are still a person. You are still you. So do what you really like to do to enjoy life. Do exercise to keep your body healthy. Choose the one that you prefer, aerobic, anaerobic, weight, or yoga, or whatever you want. But exercise your body. Practice meditation some minutes each day to keep your mind focused. This is no religion. This is not metaphysics. This is neuroscience. Neuroscience have proved that if you meditate, focusing on inner things and trying to put the monkey that we all have in our mind, that is a jumping monkey, because you are listen to me, and at the same time you are thinking about 3 or 4 different things, and that monkey is jumping from one thing to another. In order to be productive, when you develop your thesis, you need to keep your mind focused. And to do that, meditation, especially mindfulness, will help you a lot. A lot. It will help you relax your mind, relax your body, and also pay attention to one thing at a time. Remember your goal and the reason for setting it. Whenever you are in the experiences, the down part of the dissertation, and you are going to experience that, remember why I am doing this. Okay? Reflect upon the ambivalence of wanting to write and not wanting to. You say, how come? Well, easy. I think that all of us have experienced at some moment in our life that we want to do something, but at the same time, we don't want to do it for different reasons, because of different reasons. But we say, okay, I know that I have to do this. I want to do it, but I don't know why at the same time I don't want to do it. So you have to reflect, and meditation will help you to do that. This one is beautiful. Learn to say no. Whenever you are working in your dissertation, remember to say no. Somebody calls you, hey friend, can we go, to the beach? And you say, not this time. Let's do it next Saturday, or let's do it whenever you have time to. Know what things waste your time. You know that. You know what are the things that waste your time. If you are developing your dissertation, you have to avoid things that waste your time. Of course, some of them you can do it to give yourself time to be you and enjoy life, but not all the time. Reward your efforts whenever you meet a deadline, or whenever you meet a goal, whenever you do something that you were or had been trying to fulfill during some time. So you finished, you did it well. Let me go and buy some chocolate cake, if you like that. Increase your family support by blocking out time for relatives and friends. That will help you. This is connected to the first one. You have to enjoy your relatives, your friends, and that means enjoy life. Okay. Now, it's time to talk about planning, but not traditional planning. Current and future times imply context full of uncertainty, and that means that you cannot follow the classical way of planning actions. However, this will be a surprise for you. Perhaps it was for me. Planning under uncertainty is not new. And this quote states what you need to remember. Look, to be successful in an uncertain context, don't focus on predicting what exactly you would face, but prepare to adapt to whatever emerges. In other words, be flexible enough to flow with the changes. And Pericles says the key is not to predict the future, but to prepare for it. So having that in mind, yeah, change is the only thing that is constant, says Adrienne, and she is absolutely right. When talking about the dissertation journey, these are the most probable sources of changes. Your program may change from face-to-face to completely virtual, may eliminate or add some elements, or perhaps there may be changes in your committee, etc. Due to the increasing number of virtual classrooms, the way to access your population and sample may change drastically, and therefore your methodology. Work may experience lots of changes, or you may be unemployed, or your family life may be affected for multiple changes. Although you cannot predict all these changes, you can be prepared to accept their existence, analyze them, and make decisions to adapt your dissertation journey to them. It's not a matter of not having changing, it's a matter of adapting and living within those changes. This slide presents 4 levels of planning under uncertainty. This is usually applied in business environments, but I believe you can use it to plan your dissertation journey. Then you try them and then inform me. As you can see, the levels go from totally certainty to nearly complete uncertainty. The key is to think of the main elements that may be present in the plan. Level 2 asks you to think of possible discrete scenarios, while level 3 focuses on thinking about a continuum of them. Level 4 is nearly chaos, and you cannot plan for it. However, level 2 and 3 will allow you to establish some possible futures and be able to prepare some actions to be implemented. I suggest that you practice them as an exercise to get used to changes and surprises. Payal says, only one thing is certain in PhD life, uncertainty. Absolutely, Payal. But you know what? That's the beauty of it. That's why this journey is so beautiful and so challenging. Okay, and this is how many of us were at level 1 exactly 1 year ago, and now we're at level 3, maybe 4. Absolutely, Karen, you are right. Okay. And this is what you need for planning at those levels. Okay? To be ready to exercise and do that planning, you need as much information as possible. High tolerance of imprecision, high risk taken, approach conflict constructively, creativity and ideation, analytical thinking, emotional intelligence. If you check them, you will see that all but one of them are abilities. Okay? From number 2 to the last one, all of them are abilities. And that implies that the key to be successful under uncertain circumstances is inside you, not outside. Don't look that outside of you. Go into you and look it inside. Develop those abilities is a real sensible investment, not only because of their importance for the dissertation journal, but basically because of their importance in your life. And don't forget that planning is not written in stone. Planning is just that, planning, okay? Okay, so These are, in my opinion, the main ideas of today's, sorry, mouses, okay. The main ideas of today's webinar. Do you agree with that? Well, we are going to talk about that. These are the references that I have used today. And we are promoting this 15 minutes research boost so you can take advantage of this opportunity, okay? And this is what I promise. Now is your time. I'm opening my booth at this fairground, not to read your hands, but to help you read your minds. Come on. Here I am, questions and answers time. Any question, any concern, anything that you think that you want to exchange in relation to finishing dissertation on time. Danny says, do you say that you have a webinar about the skills slide, like academic writing? Yeah, a lot of them. I have conducted lots of webinars about academic writing, about critical analysis, about argumentation, and so on. You have to look at the catalog of the doctoral net and you will find it. As for Rosen, how to focus on writing our dissertation and also look for a job on our last year of PhD. Well, my experience says that in order to do well with two goals at the same time, you still have to establish priorities. And this is the point. You are looking for a job. And perhaps the key to get that job is your PhD degree. But if you haven't, or if you have not got your PhD degree, so you don't have that plus, in that case, if that is the case, I will focus first on finishing my degree and surfing the job context in order to see what kind of job or what kind of positions could be available for me. But if I want to have a job that is for which a PhD degree is a plus, I will focus on finishing the dissertation. If the job is not related to having or not a PhD degree, then my priority will be the job. Patricia, people rarely use their journal style for dissertation. What do you think about completing it in a time frame? Well, if you are going to write down as a journal, you need to establish what is the maximum amount of time that you are allowed to complete your task. And taking that into account, you can divide the time into manageable pieces, and each manageable piece is attached to a specific amount of time. But it is absolutely necessary to know what's the maximum amount of time that you are allowed to use. Payal says, how to work on improving critical reading and writing. Okay. Critical reading, I have talked about this a little in the February webinars February Tuesday webinars, and there I talk a little about this. There are other webinars in relation to critical reading and writing. Let me tell you something very basic. Critical reading and critical writing have a common element, which is reflection. Is to ask the right questions to take you to the information that you will need. Okay? So reflection is the key to do critical reading and writing, and asking the right questions is the key to perform each one of them. And critical writing is very, very influenced by your ability to organize ideas, your ability to organize paragraphs. We have in our set of webinars, we have some of them, and them are on demand. So you can register in those webinars, and you get the recording when I did this. Karen says, Roche 177, fellow Minnesotan here, but white and female, and I won't presume to answer. Will completing your dissertation allow you to even better lead a positive change? Oh, my dear, if you want to lead any change, you have to be committed to do it. You have to prepare yourself, not only in terms of getting the corresponding or the necessary knowledge to do it, but also developing the necessary attitude and the necessary emotional abilities to do that. Okay? And you can begin that change with your dissertation. To do that, you need to, first of all, choose a topic that is different. Okay? A topic completely different. A topic that lets you open a new way. And then develop it in a very consistent, coherent way. And then write a high quality dissertation. Don't worry, Roche. Everybody can talk in. This is what I have opened this booth. Sure, something like that. How do you suggest we take care of our perfectionist character, getting everything perfect the first time you write? Major hurdle I'm having right now. You know, I'm like you. I was like you. I always try to get perfection. I always try to do it without mistakes. But life experiences and lots of reflective moments make me be aware that perfection is not the great place that we think it is. Because if you got perfection, where are you going to go to after that? So you finished something important, right? And that I also learned that mistakes are the best way to do things well. If I don't make mistakes, I don't know how to do it better. Okay? So I suggest that you reflect upon this and that you try to free writing, and in that way you can really experience that you can really get better things starting with not so good things. Patricia, thank you for sharing your knowledge and expertise with us. I highly value your advice. I must leave the meeting, but wanted to thank you for this opportunity. Oh, Patricia Sanchez has my same last name. Patricia, but the other Patricia. A mentor gave me the following tips to pass preliminary just today. I had a lot. What is X as related to Y? Yeah, that's connections, okay? That is focusing connection. Why is it important? Yeah, because that means the reason to support your argument, to support your claim. What have other people done on X that is related to Y? That is evidence to support your claim. That's part of your argument. Why is what they have done not good enough? That's part of critical analysis. When you answer the question, you are doing critical analysis. How will I fill the gap? Exactly. That's critical analysis too. I have we have presented different webinars about argumentation. That's part of argumentation, and that is a great tip. Okay, Karen, thank you, Maria. I was answering back to Rochelle Dorately. Oh yeah, I know, but I, you know, I'm very curious, and I try to give you something to work with. Really helpful discussion and presentation. Arun, thanks, Maria. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Maria. I think maintaining a healthy work-life balance is necessary to manage stress. Could you say more on this subject? Yes. You know that stress is something that really influences us because we let stress to be our master, our owner. So, and why? Because we try to go faster of what we can go, or we try to do more at the same time, do more than what we can do. So what I have experienced, especially during last year, during the pandemic times, I learned to slow down by means of mindfulness. And that has given me a great possibility to keep my emotions on track, to keep my mind focused, and to do more with less stress. Okay, so I think that is the point. Always lets you to have some time for exercising, sometimes for reflecting, and sometimes to enjoy life, and then you can do all the things, even more than what you think you are expected to do. Afidra said, thank you for the wonderful discussion and presentation. Oh, thank you. I was wondering if you were going to like this approach. Karen, I'm in the depth of writing the dissertation, data analysis. And this webinar was very helpful in reminded me of big picture issues like value of exercise. Yep. And remember that you want to finish on time, okay? On task, with rigor, but alive. Erica, it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming. Payal, it was a super helpful one. Thanks a bunch. Have a good rest of your week. Bye-bye, you all. Bye. Let me finish. Stop the recording. Oh my God. Okay.